Hey, to all my female baggage droppers out there, I have a question for you. Do you like gold or silver? Well, at Brienne and Company Jewelry Store, you can find anything that you like. That's right. Brienne and Company is a jewelry boutique that has durable minimalist jewelry. She uses genuine pearls, local shells and sea glass, natural gemstones, and of course, precious metals. And these are all quality handcrafted designs by Brienne Light herself. Go and visit her at her website, brienneandco.com, or go to her Instagram that's always popping at Brienne and Company. Thanks, Brienne. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and all my baggage droppers around the world, welcome to another episode of the Drop Your Baggage podcast, where we talk to people that are dope, that can bring you hope and teach you a technique that can help you cope. And we have an outstanding guest for you right here, right now, Miss Kim Lewis. Now, Kim is from Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, and was a physical therapist assistant that graduated from Northeastern Oklahoma A&M. But she went through the Life Purpose Institute, and now she is a certified life coach. But ladies and gentlemen, she is a hustler, and she is a licensed realtor and has the t-shirt line Aspire Attire Inc. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring to you Kim Lewis. What's up, Kim?
Hey, hey. What's going on, Charles?
Hey, you guys, I tell you what, Kim is like a sister from another mister. It's real right here. And Kim, tell us, okay, so tell everyone else a little bit more about yourself that I did not include in your intro.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so much. It's just a lot. Like you said, I'm from Oklahoma City, born and raised. Lived here all my life, love to travel, but I actually do kind of enjoy Oklahoma City. It's just like a little big town. I think that's the name of a country artist, but it's really like a little big town. But yeah, just honestly, I guess I can kind of start a little bit. I'll give you a little bit of a Cliff Note version. Just from the beginning, when I was born, I was just born with the beautiful gift. I was always told I was different. Grew up very, very religious. Now more spiritual than religious.
Mm-hmm.
I love Jesus. I have a relationship with him, and I just see the importance of a relationship versus strict rules and everything like that. But yeah, I just really believe the hand of the Lord was on my life at the very, very, very beginning, and so yeah, just to kind of, talk a little bit more about my life journey. I've always been a person that's been able to just love people.
Mm-hmm.
I just had a special heart for people. Even I remember as a kid on the playground, really loving my friends, praying for my friends. Like I was that one, come on, let's go over here in the corner so I could pray for you. Just always had a big heart, but always was a thinker, always was a thinker, even as a little baby. I remember my mom had told me this story. She said, when I was real young, just started walking pretty much. She said, I will walk with my hands behind my back. And because I was like always in deep thought. And she and her best friend always thought that was very interesting and very strange. So it's funny, my sister, whenever I'm really in deep thought or like coming up with a solution, she's always saying, Kim, get your hands from behind your back, so we have a little running joke.
Hey, so time out. So like, what inspired you so much to have a relationship with the creator? Because like, I was deep into Christianity. So the stories in the Bible, they still do. They inspired me so much. Like the faith of I'm gonna get these names wrong. This is Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego.
Uh-huh.
Hey,
you got it.
those like their faith and the faith of Abraham, like it really inspires me. You know what I mean? To have a deeper relationship with the Creator. Like, what inspired you at such an early age to really get into like your spirituality and that relationship with God, the Creator?
And, at that time, even though I felt a connection with him just like organically,
Mm-hmm.
but honestly, at that time, it was more of it wasn't a choice.
Touché.
It was one of those, you go to church on Sunday morning, you go to Sunday school, you go home and you eat and you come back, then you go on Wednesday, then you go on Saturday or Friday. It really wasn't a choice. It was something that was just part of my upbringing. And it wasn't until probably, but I've always had a distinct connection with the Lord. It was just something I can't even explain, but there was like this deeper knowing. So I heard Bible stories, we would say Bible verses, and some of it, I believe were seeds being planted, because nothing is wasted, right? Especially the word, and so I just believe seeds were being planted, and then I will feel and just have this sometimes divine connection, with the Lord. But then when I got older and when I actually had the choice, to go to church or to not, or to like develop a relationship, I always had this inner knowing of, okay, there has to be more than just, this. God, what is it? I mean, because I don't want to be that believer that's always waiting on you. I don't want to be that, that believer that, or that Christian that is just a typical religious, judging everybody, because I was very judgmental, but that's judging everybody and forgetting to look at themselves, or forgetting to like really look at life. If he said that he came that we should have life and that more abundantly, how come we're not having that? What does that even look like? So I just kind of, again, I'm a thinker, right? And so I just kind of went, just like on a sporadic journey, but it wasn't probably until my 20s is when I was really like, okay, now I want to have a real relationship with you,
Yeah, real talk. Okay. Yeah. So you said you were also a thinker and you were getting into that about like how you analyze everything and how you got to get your hands from behind your back.
Yeah.
So like that obviously carried on all the way into this day, and that caring spirit also turned you into, or I'm sorry, it evolved in high school, correct?
Yeah, it did. I believe. Yeah, I remember even when it came to playing sports, I was already pretty athletic built anyway. And so I remember, doesn't always mean that you're great at sports. You still have to cultivate, right? You still have to cultivate anything. And so, but I remember honestly at that time, all the girls wanted to play basketball, right? Even whether you could play or not. And so I remember I played basketball for a while. I was just like, I'd rather play street ball with the boys in the neighborhood than this organized basketball. But I still wanted to be with the girls, So I ended up becoming a trainer for the girls basketball team. And then I ended up becoming a trainer for the football team. And it was then when I started realizing like, hey, I think, I have a little gift, because anytime they get hurt, they would come to me, and my coach would teach me different things. I would call our trainer and say, hey, I had this ankle sprain, what do I do? And I mean, it was just, I loved it. I was like, oh my, and then not only were they coming to me for their physical things, like sometimes we would have conversations, and it's just, and they would just reach out and we would talk about everything. And I would just encourage them. And it was just something that just naturally flowed for me, know?
Yeah. So you were, so that affinity to help people was already there back in school when you said you were praying for folks on the playground, and now you've enhanced it and got into the physical and the mental part of it. So now you got the spiritual mixed with the physical, mixed with the mental. And so then you just decided that you wanted to be a physical therapist in college or in high school and go into it in college?
Yeah. So what happened with that, it was, I remember the girls basketball coach, she was actually going to the physical therapy program at Langston years before she was our coach. And then I think what happened, she was in a bad accident, got injured, and she had to get out of the program, but she still knew some things. So remember, she was teaching me some things to do on the athletes to help them. And so that kind of intrigued me, just seeing like the stuff working, And then I remember my pastor at the time, it was my senior year in high school. She had hurt her legs or something. And so just because I have a heart, to help, sometimes I don't know what I'm doing, but, I went over, my mom was like, why don't you go over there? I called her my aunt, my auntie, we were really close. She said, why don't you go over there and just, work on her legs? And I'm like, okay. I didn't have a job at the time because I did not want to do telemarketing. And at that time, that was all you could do, or fast food. And so I was like, okay, I have time to do it. So I would just go over there and just like massage her legs, work, just do whatever I thought I should do. And she started getting better. And I'm like, and she said, I just feel so much better after you work on me. I feel like I could dance. And she said, I think physical therapy is your gift. I think you need to go into physical therapy. I was like, okay, sounds good to me. It just felt like a connection with that, And so, yeah, I started that summer. Actually, I started while I was in high school in concurrent enrollment, and then just went straight through. And yeah, the doors just kind of opened, and I walked right on through.
Wow. So it's funny how, like I'm saying, it's the spiritual side of you has been guiding you so much. You know what I mean? Like from the very genesis of it, you were praying for kids on the playground, and now fast forward, you have this gift, and you give it. You are giving to your auntie preacher, and then all of a sudden you are guided into enhancing that gift into college. So northeastern Oklahoma A&M is near Oklahoma City.
It's actually past Tulsa. So they call it the Four Corners. It's like right in the corner of Oklahoma. And then it's like really like 20 minutes, you can be in a different state, yeah.
So like, how was your time over at Northeastern Oklahoma A&M? And what was something that you learned outside of the classroom that helped you a whole lot more?
It was amazing. It was a small junior college, and I had a lot of like family and people that I went to school with. They went up there too, some of my football players. And I was a trainer there. And so what was fun was that as I was learning therapy, I was able to apply what I was learning to the athletes, so it was almost like I felt like I was running the rehab department in the training room. And again, it just felt good to be an asset, to be able to help people and see the results, and so they all became like my big brothers, just had great relationships. Even to this day, like I run into them sometimes, talk to them on Facebook, just great connections, great relationships, learned a lot there. Even I think coming from Oklahoma City, which was very diverse, going into a very small town, learned a lot. I remember thinking at that time in Oklahoma City, even just, as a girl, we have 4 malls, I go there, they have Walmart, and it's like, that's it. But I will say this. One thing I did learn too is wisdom, because I experienced some racism while I was up there. I didn't realize that one of the head or the red dragons of the KKK lived in downtown Miami. So here I am. And another thing too, I thank God for grace and divine protection. But we do get to use wisdom. That was the first time I was called the N-word in my life, was there, so I definitely learned a lot, grew a lot, when I was down there as well too.
Yeah, real talk. I have a similar story. I grew up in Cincinnati, Ohio. Shout out to the Queen City. And then I moved down to Southern Kentucky, right on the border. There's like a little corner where you have Kentucky and Tennessee and Virginia. I grew up like right there deep in the Appalachian, or I'm sorry, I went to school right there deep in the Appalachian Mountains. And it was a total culture shift, going from a city of 2 million people at the time to a town of 1,500 at the most. You know what I mean? It was very different. It was a coal miners town. Walmart and everything closed at 10 o'clock. I was used to like going out at night, and like you could go to Walmart, but the Walmart that was open was about 30 minutes away. And there was definitely racism down there as well. What I never got used to was the fact that I would walk into a store and people would just give me these dirty looks for no reason. Mm-hmm. The dirtiest looks, like, get out of here, like you don't belong here type of looks. Like, why are you even born? Those type of looks, It really it bugged me at first, but nobody never approached me in any crazy ways. They always kept their distance. And also I was a Christian at the time too. So I would always say, that's probably like kept me safe as well. As, I would think to myself, they don't know God's love. I was like, obviously that person doesn't know God's love, because if they did, they would like know that you're supposed to love your neighbor as you love thyself, or that they don't know that love for themselves, and therefore they can't love others as well. I still believe that. But yeah, it's when you go from the bigger city to a smaller town where that racism is there, man, it's an experience, yo.
It is. That is so beautiful. I love how you said that. If they really knew the love of God, or even knew the word to love thy neighbor as thyself, and if they loved themselves, they wouldn't act or respond or react that way. I will say this though too. Even though I experienced racism, I'm so glad for my mother, because I remember that when I was caught, that it kind of shocked me. I was like stuck for a moment, and I was at the laundromat with my best friend. Her name is Kim too. And we were like, wait, what just happened? Yeah. And so I called my mom, and I was upset and I was hurt. And she said, Kim, y'all get your stuff and get back to the campus. You don't know who's down there, and so I'm so glad that she was a voice of reason, for us at that time. And my mom, she was from St. Louis, but she's experienced, some racism, but she was able to keep us grounded, and to calm us down. But I will also say though, I met some beautiful people down there too. The first time I had beans and cornbread was from a beautiful Caucasian family, like at this church, like we went to visit this church. I went with some of the football boys, and they knew we were broke students. And so they were like, hey, why don't y'all come out to our house for dinner? We were like, yes, please, thank you. And they were so kind. And so it shows you the difference. It's not about a color. It's not about a race. It's not about a class. It's about, what do you have the love of God on the inside of you? Because when you do, you can feel it, it's tangible, and it shows in the fruit that you possess.
Amen. You definitely, and you attract who you are as well. The people that are full of that love, they will definitely be attracted to you, and they'll clamor around you. The same thing happened with me after I graduated from college. I went and I had like my internship. I became a teacher assistant over in a small town called Pineville, old coal mining town where the highway, it went right by their town. And like, it was so funny because the highway used to go through their town, but then they had like a bypass that go around it, and the town had never been the same. But as I digress, I went with me student teaching there. I coached the high school football team, and I started a kickball league for the middle school. And this was like with me not getting paid, you know what I mean? Like, I really dug into, I was tutoring. And people love that. People love that about me. And and a guy who's a older guy, shout out to Darwin. He was an OG in the city, but he, like, this guy was OG in the city to where he had multiple businesses, and one of the businesses was a movie theater where he used to show porn. Like, this guy was wild. I love Darwin. He's awesome. He's the best, right? So with Darwin, actually, he said he retired in order for me to have a job there in the city, and that's how much he wanted me there. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Yeah, like really, really embraced me. So yes, there was so many beautiful souls down there. Shout out to everybody in Pineville. If you're listening to this, I love you so much. And it really showed me the true power of the human spirit, and like you said, the Creator's love,
Yeah. And even how we show up, because if you show up with the love, love is like the highest vibration, right? It supersedes everything. And so no matter what resistance you get, we have to be the change in the world we want to see. Who's that, Gandhi? And when you show up in that way, it's just amazing what happens, the trickle down effect of that. So I think that's so beautiful. So beautiful.
No, thank you. And now, after you graduated, you went right into being a physical therapist assistant.
Yes.
Yeah. How long did you do that for? And how was that experience?
Yeah, so I'm still licensed and it's been almost 20 years. I know it's crazy, like time flies that fast.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so started doing that probably about a year and a half. Then I went back to school at OSU in Stillwater to get a degree in athletic training. Then I realized it was too much politics with that. And so I fired myself before I even could finish. And so then I went back into doing, therapy. So yeah, it's been about 20 years, almost 20 years that I've been doing licensed to do physical therapy.
Outstanding. But you also have a hustler spirit. So you have, it seems like, three businesses as far as entrepreneurship. You're a life coach, and you're a licensed realtor, and you have a t-shirt line. Did you always have this entrepreneurship within you, in this hustler spirit?
You know, Charles, I would tell you, yes, it's something that's been embedded in me since the beginning. I remember I was looking at my diary. I think I was 8 years old. What age? And I didn't. Now I believe my grandfather, which they passed when I was really really young, so I really didn't know him that well. And then my grandmother, she was a beautician. My grandfather had like a barbecue diner in St. Louis, but I didn't even really know them, And so, but I remember when I was reading my diary, I think I was around 8 years old. One of the things that I said was that I was going to have multiple businesses. And so when I read it as an adult, I was like, what kid? Like, this is interesting. Like,
Right.
it really blew my mind. I was like, okay, wow. So that spirit has been in me for a long time. Even I'm gonna tell you another secret. Again, that thinker. So I remember I was in 7th grade in middle school, and I was in this technology class. Now, Charles, I'm a date myself a little bit. That's when the computers were huge, and you had to go for you too.
I remember.
Yes, and you had to go to the computer lab. You couldn't just carry a computer with you. And so I remember thinking at that time, I said, you know what? If I could create something that was like a smaller computer that people could carry with them, and like business people could carry it with them on the airplane whenever they have to travel, and if they need to, whenever they make it to their destination, they can connect like to the printer and print off their work. That way they don't have to wait until they can actually get stuff done at the time. And I was like, that's so brilliant. Like, that's a great idea. I told my mom about it. She was like, that's great, but that's like that. And that was before laptops. That was before iPads. That was before iPhones. I'm like, listen,
You should have patented that.
I didn't know how.
I know, right?
Yes. And so, oh my gosh. So when I hear kids like have these amazing creative ideas, I always love to encourage them to, okay, how can we get this, going? How can we get this on the market? Who can we talk to? Because I remember having that great idea as a kid and not doing anything with it. And then somebody else came out with it later, so. Yeah.
So obviously, you think outside of the box. And so like with your transit, so which one of these businesses did you begin first, by the way? Realty, being a realtor, t-shirt line, or the life coach?
So real estate, I started about 3 years ago. Just I wanted to do something and I started it part-time, so I was still doing therapy. I felt I wanted to be able to do something else to bring in another source of income where I didn't have to physically touch someone, you know what I mean? But where I could still help, because I love when I first got my place, I remember it was a realtor that reached out to me and was like, hey, can I ask you a personal question? And I was like 21, 22. And just with her opening up that conversation and just opening up exposing me to the possibility, I was able to buy a condo. And so I love helping first time home buyers. So another place to serve, right? Another place to serve. So I've only been doing real estate for 3 years. And then the clothing line, I've had that it's just been a couple years. And so everything's kind of jumbled together, and you want me to tell you how that got started?
Please.
Okay. So, how that got started, literally, I was going through, my own personal healing journey. It really, really, really started after my broken engagement. And we can jump back to that in a little bit.
Okay.
But I remember going through a really, really dark place after that. And I'm the person that is the bright light, right? But I found myself in a dark place, a dark space. I was depressed. I didn't want to get out of bed. It was so, I felt rejected.
Yeah.
It was just so many different emotions that I went through. And I remember my best friend had bought me this shirt that said God's will is perfect. And I would wear that shirt just to remind myself, like, you know what? Okay, your will is perfect. It don't feel perfect right now, but okay, it is, And so I remember I would go to the mirror like daily and just like affirm myself. I had no idea what affirmations were. I just felt like I needed to look at myself in the mirror, even in tears, and tell myself, you are loved, you are special, you are worthy, you are the daughter of a king, and just, you are fearfully and wonderfully made. You are a masterpiece. You are beautiful. You are kind. You are enough, so I would just say that sometimes even in tears. And I remember one day I was asleep, had a dream, and I saw this beautiful chocolate woman with this big curly hair in this black shirt with red writing that said, you are loved. And I woke up and I was just like, so in that healing process, I had a lot of experiences with just supernatural experiences with God. And I remember waking up thinking like, okay, the Lord's just telling me that he loves me, and I just felt it. I received it. And I noticed one thing, even with that old t-shirt, that when I would wear that shirt, God's will is perfect, not only would I have to look in the mirror and remind myself, let it minister to me, it ministered to other people. So when I saw the girl in the dream, and I just really felt like the Holy Spirit saying, write it down. So I was like, okay. So I got up, wrote it down. And all the other things he would kind of drop in my spirit, I would just get up and write it down, and then that's when he birthed, it was probably like maybe 8-9 months, close to a year later, he started telling me to put them on t-shirts, because not only will it minister to you, the person that's wearing it, it's going to minister to other people. So I wear my shirts, and sometimes people are like, oh my God, I needed to hear that. I needed to see that. Thank you so much. I needed to be reminded of that today. And I'm like, wow. So God never does anything one-sided. Not only is it blessing me and healing me and doing something in me, when I look at it, when I wear it and I can feel it, it's also doing something for someone else.
Amen. Yeah. Just your discipleship just goes in so many ways.
It does.
I love it. So you said your self-development and inner healing started with your broken engagement. And that's what then brought this journey for you to become a life for you to go into Life Purpose Institute and become a life coach. So what idiot out there broke his engagement with you?
I'm gonna say this. I'm grateful now that I look back on it, because, again, nothing is wasted, and one thing I learned is that we all have choice. And then I also had to realize that there were some broken parts of me, even though I'm a good person, have a good heart, love people, there was still some brokenness in me that attract, like you said, you attract who you are, right? Mm-hmm. And so there was still some broken places in me that attracted some of the broken places in him, and so I'm grateful now. Hurt then, oh my gosh, had to. And let me tell you, some things, even when we talk about forgiveness, and forgiveness is so powerful, but some things are easy to forgive. You step on my foot. Oh, I know you didn't mean it. You say something crazy to me, you just had a bad day. Okay, I know you just had a bad day, but heavy stuff, I'm telling you, I went through a process of learning how to forgive in faith. I never had, and this is another lie that people say, you have to have closure. This person needs to come back and apologize to you. This person needs to let you know. That never happened. Yeah. That never happened, Charles. I mean, I was like almost like blindsided in a sense, but it matured me in a way. It grew me in a way. It took me on a path. Once I finally started saying, okay, you know what? I'm not obviously not going to get any closure from this person. This is obviously making no sense. And I said, Lord, forget him right now. What are you teaching me? Oh, listen. And that right there is responsibility. And anybody that's going through any situation and you're so focused on the wrong thing, this person did this to me, and we're kind of stuck in that victim. And no, don't get me wrong. Sometimes we have been the victim and that is real. However, do we want to stay in that space? You know? And so once I got out of that space and was like, okay, forget this. What are you teaching me? Oh my God. I was like, I don't even have time to focus on him. I need to focus on me right now. You know, so again, that's when it just kind of opened up that path and the journey to healing. And it wasn't harsh.
Yeah.
It wasn't, it was just like, ooh, okay. I didn't realize that. It was so like the Holy Spirit, I feel, was so gentle with me in the process, you know, and just, it was such a beautiful thing, even though it was a challenge, you know, it was still, because healing anything is a challenge, you know, but it was still a beautiful journey.
So if you don't mind telling us, what did you learn?
Goodness. I learned a lot. I learned a lot. I learned one about forgiveness. Even forgiving myself. I learned that, you know, one thing too, I didn't realize that I had some codependency issues, you know, so I learned that about myself. I learned that, oh God, it's just like, I'm actually in the process of writing a book. And so it'll most likely be in the book. But Charles, I just learned so much about me being responsible, you know, for your own healing, being intentional with your own healing. I learned that I made marriage an idol and I made him an idol. I didn't even realize that because, you know, a lot of times we think, oh, marriage is good. And it is. It's the first institution God created. It's amazing when it's in its right place. You know what I mean? I learned, oh gosh, and that was a big lesson. I was like, oh my God, did I put that above God? I put him above God, you know? So yeah, and I feel like this too, even when we talk about idols, whether they're, and sometimes we don't realize we're doing it, you know, but whatever I feel, especially as a believer, whatever you make an idol, God's coming for it.
Ooh.
He's coming for it. Because this is the thing.
Yeah, real tough.
He knows, like, and he does it out of his love. Because think about this. Sometimes we're like, oh, that's harsh. No, it's out of love because he knows that he's the only thing that will never fail you, period. You know, so when we put people on pedestals, I don't care who they are, leaders of the government, your pastors, your parents, your spouse, you can never put anybody above him because he knows that we're human and your job, like it will fail you. He will allow it to because he knows later on down the line, it's going to hurt you more if I don't allow this to fail you right now to get you redirected back on me, you know? So those are some of the major lessons.
Damn.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What fascinating stories. And yes, those idols, when you appreciate something more than you appreciate love, the love for yourself, the love for others, the love for the creator, when you when you ignore or you negate or neglect those things that are such a big part of yourself, like the creator or like your own emotional, physical, mental health, it's all going to tear apart because you're seeking validation from something from the outside. Let's not say you, let's say anybody, myself, in fact, with, you know, my ex-wife, I was seeking that validation and acceptance from her because it felt good. It felt amazing to feel like I was being accepted, to feel like I was good enough. I didn't feel like I was good enough on the inside, but her attention, her beauty, her amazing energy, all directed towards me, helped me feel that feeling that I really had never felt before on the deepest level. And when I appreciated that so much and too much, I got away from finding out who I truly was. I wasn't even on the path. I was nowhere near the path. You know, I was trying to find the sunset and I was headed east. You know what I mean? And, you know, once I put her down as the idol and stopped and really stopped trying to satisfy her more than anything, and really looked at myself, that's when everything changed. And that the path towards becoming my true authentic self and that path towards healing really expedited. It definitely made the trip a whole lot shorter and a whole lot more impactful.
That's so beautiful. And I so can relate, like what you talked about, the validation, because I remember, a lot of my friends had been married, and some divorced, it's like they got married and then 3 years later they were divorced. And then, so you feel like you're missing out. Right. And so when I remember when he, one thing I always felt with him, he was a good guy, and then one thing I always felt was protected, and he was a manly man too. He was in the military. He was a provider. I got this. And then the other thing, coming out of a previous relationship where I felt like I had to beg the person, when are we going to spend time together? Like, can we go out this weekend? Like, what's up? Like, when are we going to hang out? I felt like I was begging that person. This man came into my life and wanted to be in my face, almost to the point to where it was like, like, this is a lot, but wait, this is what I've been wanting.
Yeah.
This is what I've been needing. And so he's giving me all this attention and taking me out all the time and just spending time with me and just, giving me these things that I needed. And then when he proposed, it was like, oh, I have arrived. Yes. Somebody finally sees I'm a good woman, and so that whole validation, instead of really knowing who I was, period, with or without anybody, with or without money, with or without anything, I am still enough. I am still the daughter of a king, of the king, but at that time it was like, oh no, like, this is what's validating me. This is what's giving me, that I need, so I totally can relate. Yeah. Totally.
And he spoke your love language. And when somebody speaks your love language, especially fluently, like quality time apparently is your love language, dude. If one of them, right? Yeah. We all have multiple, but like with quality time being one of your love languages, and he like speaking it so fluently and wanting the same and having the same desires, you're like, oh, this is perfect. Look at us. We are on the same frequency. We on the same boat right here. It's all good.
Yeah. And even as a woman, being wired for security, being wired to be protected, and feeling like, oh, okay. Like, I don't have to fight for myself anymore. I can be a lady, just naturally kind of gravitating to that. Absolutely.
Tony Robbins, he talks about the 6 human needs, and one of the human needs is certainty. So with you feeling that sense of certainty with him as well, man, that just like everything, it was like the package, blah, blah, blah. And, the one thing that you never know what was missing from that, it's like, so with my ex-wife, I went through all these things and learned so much. And she taught me that if you don't grow after you break up with someone, then you're going to make the same mistake and get with the same type of person. So now that I have my girlfriend, I'm taking her through the ringer. I'm doing all the things that I didn't do with my ex with her. So all my dirty little secrets, communicating my love languages, and making sure that I'm happy more than anything. Like, I know that I control my happiness, and I know that she controls hers. So therefore, I never go at it to a place of, oh, you're not making me happy. It's like, oh no, what do I need? What do I need? You know what I mean? Like, if it's something that she can do as far as speaking my love language, then great. But if I need to go serve in order to feel that sense of significance and love and connection, then I need to go serve. It's not on her.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, she doesn't make me happy. She contributes to my happiness.
Yes.
And
absolutely.
It's a game changer. It's a total game changer.
And it's a weight lifter, because no one, we should not carry that weight for anybody, and we should not put that weight on anyone. That's responsibility. That's absolute responsibility.
And that's what makes you different as well, because a lot of people would have stayed in that victim role and would have just gotten angry and bitter. But instead, like, with you taking that responsibility, it gives you a way to that healing. If the thinker within you just sparked on, that natural gift within you just sparked, and it's like, okay, I don't need to sit here. I have something that's bigger than me on my side. So God, that you talk to the creator, which is awesome. You know what I mean? Like, God, what do I need to learn from this? Dude, and you know, the thing that you asked for the creator, anything that you ask from the creator, he's going to give you an answer. Ask and you shall receive.
Okay.
So that is huge. Like, congratulations on that. That's outstanding. I'd really admire you for that.
Thank you. Thank you. Likewise.
So for you felt like you needed more purpose. You know what I mean? And that's when you ran into the Life Purpose Institute. Walk us through that.
Yeah. So I had gotten to a space in my life after doing therapy for so long. And this is the thing too, when we talk about purpose, sometimes people put it in a box. And I actually have a t-shirt and a hoodie that says, I'm not created to fit in a box. You know, and so sometimes we put it in this box and it's only supposed to look like this, you know, but I believe purpose has a way of manifesting in many different ways. And I believe purpose too is also connected to just your natural giftings that God has put within you. You know, that like, I just believe there's a gift that God has put in everyone that the world needs.
Yeah.
And sometimes in this season, it may look like this. And then you go into a next season, it may look a little different, but it's still like the same gifting, just maybe rewrapped, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so I had been doing therapy a while. And then I got into doing real estate part-time. And my little light went out. And
you shine through that light, no worries. You're still shining.
Okay, good. I'm still shining. Just the glow. Okay. And so I just remember feeling like, you know, there's more in me. Like there is more in me. And I just remember also just thinking, okay, what am I naturally good at? And then I started remember seeing like all these life coaches popping up. I'm like, what is life coach? What is this coaching thing? You know? And I just felt a little drawn to it. Mm-hmm. So I just remember checking into it and I just Googled, you know, because I'm like, I feel like I need more fulfillment. Like I love what I do with therapy. Literally, I started listening to the feedback and I would hear some of my clients say, you know, I really didn't want you to come because I was doing home health at the time. And they were like, I really didn't want you to come and I didn't feel like doing therapy. I wasn't feeling well. But every time you leave, I feel so much better. And it's not just my body, like you make me feel better. And I'm like, great. You know, I think that's wonderful. I'm so glad, you know. And so I remember I had one older lady, she said, you're like an upper. Upper, you know, and she's like, you just like anybody that's down, you could just bring them up, you know. And I'm like, so I started listening to the feedback and then I started looking at kind of like my life and what I do. And just naturally, like when it comes to even my friends, I remember one time my family, one time I was with my sister and brother-in-law and they were like arguing about something. I said, okay, what she's trying to say is this. And what he's trying to say is this. And they were like, yeah, I'm like, y'all are crazy. But it would just flow so naturally. So I started getting drawn like, okay, I feel like there's more, I want more fulfillment, you know, in life. Like there's something deeper that's calling like out of me or something. I don't know. So I just looked up life purpose, you know, and so anyway, Life Purpose Institute popped up with life coaching and I looked up life coaching. That's what I Googled. Life Purpose Institute came up and I was like, that just kind of feels right. Yeah. You know, just like that, again, these knowings. And so I clicked on it and they were, you know, I got a chance to interview with the school and they interviewed us on Zoom and and I was like, whoa, okay. I didn't know they were going to do all that. I thought it was just going to be like this webinar. They're going to just explain something, but they got on live, you know, with us, explain what life coaching was. And I was just like, that's something that I kind of do already.
Yeah.
I could see myself doing that, you know, and just having the extra tools that I need, you know, to be able to serve people however they need it, you know. And so, yeah, that's what drew me, just seeking that whenever there was like, there's this verse, and I can't say the whole thing, but it's something about deep calling to deep. Like there was something within me that was calling out for more, you know? And so I was just being drawn to, and I'm very, again, not religious, but spiritual, you know, and I had that relationship. So it's like it's almost like a GPS system that kind of guides me, you know? Yeah.
It's so fun. I can only imagine how outstanding you are as a life coach. One, because you've always had this natural intuition, whether it be from thinking outside of the box like you did with the computer and thinking of the laptop, or whether it be you going to your Auntie Reverend's house and like working on her, even though you didn't know like what and how to do things. You know what I mean? And also that amazing ability that to just care, that unfiltered love that you give, that right there, all in all, I feel as though it just makes you already fit to be an amazing life coach.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I would definitely say that, I know it's not me. I know it's not all me. It's not. There are times when I've been in a session, with the client, and and one thing too, I'm a believer, so you're gonna get a sprinkle of Jesus.
Yeah. Bring it on. I love Jesus.
Pray, right. We love Jesus. I pray, for my clients. And even before I do a session, I just ask the Holy Spirit to come in and just, this is your child, whatever you want to do with them, just use me. I'm the vessel, so there are times when I use the book and, and I, okay, fill out these forms. But then there are times when I could feel like, okay, this has shifted. Like, there's no way I could have come up with this question. There's no way I could have come up with this, period. I'm like, I know that was the Holy Spirit. And then it's amazing to see the breakthroughs. Like sometimes I feel like I'm just watching, like, where's the popcorn? Okay, you do your thing,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell us one of your favorite success stories from the before and after.
Yeah. Let me think. Goodness. And I've just kind of started this journey. So let me think of a couple people.
Okay.
I would say I had a client that had gone through a divorce, and just a lot of deep work that needed to be done. Now, I'm not a counselor, coaches, we're not counselors, we're not therapists. And sometimes we just tap back into the past to kind of help it make sense so we can help move you forward. But I would say that, seeing her just break through, and it's never like one big thing. It's like the little breakthroughs that lead to just living the life that you really desire. You know what I mean?
What condition was she in when you first met her? Like, how was she feeling?
Oh, she was, I would say there was a lot of disappointment. There was a lot of anger. There was a lot of confusion. There was a lot of, one word I would say too, there was at first a lot of deception, a lot of that, and even a lot of, because she was such a supporter,
right,
that she neglected herself,
right,
so being able to bring her back to the place of reminding her, that, okay, what about you?
Right.
You're important too, and the specific things that she wanted. Cause, sometimes, people have this, okay, well, I want to lose 20 pounds or I want to, whatever those goals are,
right,
those are great to have. But if you don't have those foundational things, it's never going to be sustainable.
right.
So if you don't have healing in some of those certain areas, it's never going to be sustainable. So we were able to kind of just bring up and help her understand, like, why you're saying you want this at the surface, but let's take care of this first. Then you can start really, having what it is that you truly, truly desire.
Right.
So yeah, but just seeing her breakthrough in loving herself more, in understanding her value more, and understanding her worth more, and hitting some of the goals that she wanted to hit, like breaking through some places of fear, it was just a beautiful thing to see.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
And just to walk her in that process, it was beautiful to just kind of see her, like, bud open,
Right.
and open up her heart. Now she's not in a relationship or anything like that. She's still like, I'm away. But
Right.
just to see her living again, because it's like she put her life on pause for so long, but just to kind of see her living again and really finding out who she is and how important she is, such a beautiful transformation.
Right. That's outstanding. You are going to blow up as a coach. Just keep on going. And here on the Drop Your Baggage podcast, we talk to people that are dope, that can bring you hope and teach you a technique that can help you cope. And that technique is mental and emotional release that we're going to be doing today. It is an NLP technique. And by the way, I am also not a counselor or a therapist or a psychologist or a social worker or any of those things. I'm just an alternative to all of those amazing healing modalities. And you can thank my lawyer for that. But we are going to release some triggers today, and you wanted to release some triggers around the fear of the unknown. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. Yes. So I'm in this space of transitioning, I've been doing, it's interesting. I've been doing therapy, 20 years, still licensed. Real estate does this, is great when it's great. And, when it's not, it's, not, but, just, I really feel again, that calling to, okay, Kim, there are people waiting on you. Whether it is through coaching, whether it's through getting this, this book that I never thought about writing a book, Charles. I mean, I like to read, I used to love to write when I was in college and high school, love to write. But when I was led again to write, I'm like, write what, And so, but the thing about me is I'm learning to be available. Okay. Holy Spirit drops this in me. All right, because I don't have to do it on my own. Mm-hmm. I don't have to do it on my own. So we in this thing together, And so I just feel like, going into this space of true entrepreneurship, because it's different. You could be an entrepreneur, but when you have, something steady, or that you have this right here, you feel okay, but that whole, okay, what does this even really, really, really look like? It's a little fear there because it's uncharted territory for me, Yeah.
Big time. That is a scary transition. I had a similar transition where I was a teacher, an educator, and used to getting my check on that 1st and 15th. And then switch over to becoming an entrepreneur and, searching for leads or attracting different leads. And depending on things like sales funnels and ads and word of mouth and, giving free coaching sessions and all these different things in order to build a business and, and build this empire that we're building. And it definitely is not the same when the checks just aren't the same amount, when you're used to this quality of, not this quality of living, because the quality of life hasn't gone down, but this a certain amount that made me personally feel so much certainty and also a little bit of significance at times as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Absolutely.
How does it affect you on a day-to-day, the fear of the unknown?
I will honestly say sometimes I can find myself being stuck. Like, oh, okay, I know I need to get this done, but what does this even look like? Sometimes I get stuck in my head, like, okay, I'm working on this. I'm building, these things. I'm working on getting this done. But who is this for? Like, who am I really called to? Like, and so then it's like, then I can find myself a little bit in procrastination, in all honesty. So I think those are ways that it affects me day to day.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, for sure. There's 4 major steps to change. Step number 1, you got to get rid of the old mindset. You got to raise your vibrations. If your goals have a high vibration, if your income has a high vibration, if the things that you want to do have a high vibration, then you have to raise your vibrations where those are. And therefore your thoughts the vibrations into the universe. So you have to raise your vibrations by getting rid of your negative emotions, limiting beliefs, and insecurities. Number two is you got to set a goal, and you've already set the goal. It's just that you can't get your thoughts or your vibrations high enough to take action and reach those goals. So you already have to have the goal. Once you release the negative emotion and you have your goal, step number three is to take action. Take those small actions. That's when you are telling the subconscious mind through your actions, through your body, that, hey, this is real. What we're doing right here is we're breaking through and we're taking action on things no matter what. You know what I mean? We may not know where the tunnel leads, but guess what? We see a light at the end of it. So it's just about failing forward, because the path to success goes through failure. Goes straight through failure. So you have, in order to be successful, you have to fail forward. If you don't fail, I don't know anyone that has had any type of success that hasn't failed at something, you know what I mean, throughout their path. And the fourth, of course, is to stay focused on what you want. Don't let anything else distract you, including your negative emotions or limiting beliefs. Keep reminding yourself of what your goal is, and keep your vibrations high. That's about it. That's what it is all about too, is because your vibrations may lower, your thoughts may be negative at times, but to keep those vibrations higher. So what we're going to do is that first step. We're going to get rid of the negative emotion or the limiting belief today, that fear of the unknown. And you already have your goals. So just take action on those goals. And also remind yourself through your faith in the Creator that no matter what, how does it go? All things are possible through Christ. Is that it?
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
So it's possible.
You get, literally, I said that earlier today, like in my prayer. Yeah, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me.
Boom, boom. So once you have that strength and that resolve, take that action. Your subconscious is going to be like, you know what, you're right. And then once you have that breakthrough, then you'll have another and another, and it'll just intensify more and more over time. And that's when you'll have more blessings of confidence and consciousness and amazing ideas and creativity for yourself and your clients. All right.
All right.
Let's get it. I want to know, like, I want you to go into that state real quick of having that fear of the unknown. How does it feel internally? You got me over here sweating, by the way. It's like I've done a workout over here. Goodness gracious. I need to go change my shirt. Goodness gracious. I got this natural deodorant and it doesn't have an antiperspirant. So it's just, I don't stink, but goodness gracious.
You're so funny. Just keep some paper towels. It's all love. It's all love. It's all
I ain't tripping. I just looked down. I was like, oh my God. As I digress, if you could go back into that, I would like you to go into that state of that fear of the unknown. How does it feel in your body?
Yeah, anxious, anxiety. Like sometimes, because what comes along with the fear of the unknown is also fear of like it's lack. Like, oh, okay, am I gonna have enough?
Right.
Okay, right now, this is what I have right now that I'm working with, and that's about to run out, and so it's just like, and then panic, sometimes I could feel my heart racing, if I start thinking about it. There have been times I've waken up like, okay, what are you going to do? How are you going to do this? You're the only one you can really depend on, or I feel like that, and so, okay, girl, you got to get this thing together, and then even with that, it's like, then I feel this, how is it? It's almost like not only when I feel that, it's almost like it freezes me sometimes, like I get frozen, like, and then the procrastination comes, instead of me moving forward and taking action, it's like freeze. I think that's just like one of those, fight, flight, or freeze.
Yeah.
One of those things I freeze sometimes. And it's like, okay, Kim, you need to knock out some deadlines, but It's just like, I want to, but I get stuck, So yeah, so those are the things that I feel. Definitely the anxiety, the panic, the nervous energy, the Girl, what you gonna do? You got bills to pay, girl. You need to make sure, you know.
Real
Yeah.
talk. Real talk. By the way, I want to ask you a question. When has it not worked out? Just making sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, just making sure.
Yeah. You're so right. Oh
Hey,
my gosh. Yeah. Yeah.
so with this process,
That's so
the mental and emotional release process, there's three things that you need to do. Number one is you need to use your imagination.
okay.
Number two, you need to follow directions just like you follow a recipe or Google Maps.
Okay.
And number three is to trust the process. Know that I'm your guide and I'll be leading you through this easily and effortlessly. And I come out of a place of love and great vibrations.
I could feel all the good vibrations and love. Do I need a piece of paper or anything? Or
Nope. That's all you. Just those three things. That's all you really
okay.
need to do. Now we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna create your timeline. Your past can be to your left, to your right, or behind you. If you were to know where's your past,
Okay, say that again.
I got you. Your past can be to your left, to your right, or behind you. If you were to know where is your past,
It could be to the left, to the right, or behind me. Behind me.
where's your future?
In front of me.
Perfect. All right. Is it all right with your unconscious mind for you to release this fear of the unknown today and for you to be aware of it consciously?
Absolutely.
Awesome. What is the root cause of this problem? The first event, which when disconnected, that will cause this problem to disappear. If you were to know, when was the first time that you had the fear of the unknown when you were just a little bitty girl, talking about elementary age? Let's keep it around 7 and earlier.
The first time I've experienced fear of the unknown. Mm. It may be the only thing that's coming to me like right now is and it's something that I saw, but it was never said, but I still saw it. I remember being a kid and then like having to receive food from other people because we didn't have enough. Um, and we were kind of struggling because my dad wasn't able to work and my mom was kind of handling everything on her own. And so I think sometimes the fear of we never had lights off or anything like that, but it was all, I think that's the only thing that's coming to me is, are we going to have enough? You know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Is it a fear of the unknown or a fear of not having enough?
It may be a fear of not having enough.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so too. Because if that's the first, I mean, if that's what comes to mind and that's what you're losing sleep over, then that's right there is the one that's right there is the limiting belief that's keeping you from reaching your fullest potential. That's freezing you.
I think that's what it is.
Good stuff. So we gotta make the decision again, right? Is it all right with your unconscious mind for you to release this fear of not having enough today and for you to be aware of it consciously?
Absolutely.
Awesome. So once again, all you gotta do is use your imagination, follow directions, and trust the process. So you can go ahead and close your eyes and relax and let me know when you're ready for the process.
I'm ready.
Awesome. Now, just imagine floating up above your timeline. All right. The timeline, your past is behind you. And float deeper and deeper and deeper into the past. Above that first event in which you felt that fear of not having enough. When you were just a little girl receiving the goods. And just float above that little girl, hover above her, being the observer of the event. And everyone that's there, your mom, your dad, and just see that event like a fly on the wall. Let me know when you're there.
I'm there.
All right. All right. Now just stay right there. All right. Seeing the whole event like a fly on the wall, and just ask your unconscious mind what it needs to learn from the event, the learning of which will allow you to let go of the emotions easily and effortlessly. Your unconscious mind can preserve the learnings so that if you need them in the future, they'll be there. Just tell your unconscious mind to preserve the learnings. This is an exercise of forgiveness and acceptance. Forgiveness for yourself and others, and acceptance of yourself and others. Who do you have to forgive? What do you have to accept? Who do you have to accept? This exercise works best when you display compassion and empathy for yourself and others. Focus your attention upon how you're a survivor. Hurt people hurt people. We're all doing the best that we can with the resources and consciousness that we have. We can't control anyone else's actions, but we can control our response. We can grow stronger and wiser and learn from other people's actions and mistakes. Other people's actions have nothing to do with you. It's only a reflection of their baggage and whatever they're going through at the time. And we're better people than we were when those events occurred. You're a better person than you were when those events occurred. What is something positive and empowering you can tell yourself and your parents and everyone else involved in the event with the consciousness that you have today that would allow the emotions to evaporate like water on the concrete on a hot summer day? And as you preserve these learnings, the emotions are starting to dissipate more and more until they're all gone. Just let me know when they're all gone.
They're gone.
Awesome. Now, with your eyes closed and you observing the event, tell me, what did you learn from the event?
I really learned that my mom and dad really did their best with what they had.
Mm-hmm.
They really did their best with what they had to give us what we needed. Maybe not always what we wanted, but what we needed.
Right. Right. Now, looking at the event, tell me, what is something that you can take from the event into the future and to make you a better person?
That one beautiful thing that I can see that I can take with me is the creativity. One thing that kind of came to me was I remember my mom would add milk to the eggs to make them stretch.
Mm-hmm.
And she would, we would have to drink small glasses of orange juice just to make it last.
Mm-hmm.
And so one thing is being able to be creative and steward over what you have is something that I can take.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Awesome. Now, just imagine floating up above your timeline and float deeper and deeper and deeper into the past above the dinosaurs during the prehistoric age. Let me know when you're above the dinosaurs.
Okay.
Now, awesome. Now, just float deeper and deeper and deeper into space to where space and the atmosphere connects. And imagine your timeline is the size of a fingernail. Let me know when you're there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, just imagine floating there, weightless, in space, and ask yourself now, where are the emotions? Tell me, are they there or have they disappeared? Now.
They are not there.
Awesome. Awesome. Now, float down inside the event, seeing through your own eyes as a little girl, and check on the emotions. Tell me, are they there or have they disappeared? Now.
They disappeared.
Awesome. Float back above the dinosaurs and then float into space to where space and the atmosphere connects. Let me know when you're there.
Mm-hmm.
All right. All right. Listen closely. Float very, very high above your timeline, above each and every event in which you felt that fear of not having enough from birth until now in chronological order. Don't skip one event that has a charge on it. Preserve the learnings and let go of that fear of not having enough all the way back to now. Go.
They're gone, I think. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Make sure.
Yeah.
Float down into your body and open your eyes when you're ready. Welcome back.
Oh, wow. Okay. Wow.
Mm-hmm. Tell us about your experience.
That was interesting. Like I felt like I was on the outside looking in.
Yeah.
And, some memories started kind of coming up, to like when there wasn't enough,
Mm-hmm.
but even being able to, what's the word? Shift the perspective on it.
Mm-hmm.
Like there wasn't like a purposeful, like mean, like this is just what you know what I mean? It was just, I don't know. It was just, it just felt like a greater level of grace,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And understanding and forgiveness, of even my unforgiveness and expectation. Yeah.
Your unforgiveness of what?
I didn't realize that. I guess I was holding something in my heart against like my mom, and dad, for like that, making us drink a little bit of thing of orange juice and, like teaching us how to only pay this much on the bill, like literally just teaching us how to pay bills and not how to build, but it wasn't their fault. They didn't know. They were just trying to survive, And so, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like seeing them in a different perspective.
Absolutely.
Seeing them in a different light.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like you didn't have enough still in those days?
In those days,
I mean, like now has your perspective changed that what you had then still wasn't enough?
I mean, honestly, like, has my perspective changed that what I had then wasn't still enough? No, we survived. Like, obviously it was. I wasn't malnourished, and a way was always made,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So what you did was, and my bad for not telling you this earlier, every memory is a trigger, right? Every memory is a trigger. And once you change your perspective on that memory or that event, then you get rid of the trigger. And also every time you get rid of that trigger, that's a breakthrough. So you get rid of multiple triggers and you have multiple breakthroughs like that. And what do I want to say? So do you smell bacon?
Mm-mm.
Okay. So just no. Just to change your that's to change your state. State of mind. So can you remember a time in the past in which you used to feel that old emotion? And go back and notice if you can feel it, or you may find that you cannot.
To feel the old emotion of not like
Having enough.
having.
Yeah.
I can't really feel the emotion attached to it right now.
Get used to it.
Okay, good. Listen.
The trigger, right? That was a trigger. Because if you remember before, I asked you, how does it feel?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, it feels like this, it feels like this, and anxiety and panic and all these things. So like, can you truly go back to those events that you were thinking about earlier and see if you can still feel that old trigger?
I don't. I really. I don't.
I love it. I love it. That's my favorite. I love it. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, that's weird. I mean, it's not weird. It's great, but
why is it weird?
I guess when you get used to dysfunction, even though you don't realize it's dysfunction, and you're used to being, triggered by just a thought, or it's weird in a good way. Not like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
oh yeah,
yeah, that's
still looking for it, yeah.
And it's like, I'm glad. I mean, I don't feel
it's kind of like that sense of waiting on the other shoe to drop.
Yeah.
It's like, I know it was there. I know if I think about that, then boom, I just felt it earlier. I know that the trigger was right there. And now it's like, wait, I know it was there. I had this for years, decades.
Yeah. I just sent a message to my spiritual father this morning saying, I feel like I've been holding my breath. So I was feeling it this morning. Like,
And now it's different. Or is it different?
It feels like it.
Yeah. I want you to imagine floating out into the future, to an unspecified time in the future, which if the same thing would have happened in the past, you would have felt that fear of not having enough. But it's the future now. So see if you can find that old emotion, or you may find that you cannot.
I need to close my eyes.
You don't have to.
So float to the future.
To an unspecified time in the future, which if the same thing would have happened in the past, you would have felt the fear of not having enough. But it's the future now. So see if you can find that old emotion, or you may find that you cannot.
I'm not finding
it. Congratulations, you just released a bunch of fear. Yeah, you're so welcome. You seem to be reveling in it. Kim, what's on your mind?
Oh, I'm grateful.
Don't make me cry. Don't you do that.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. Would they be like, ain't God good? Ain't God good?
Oh gosh. Yes.
Yeah. So it was a heavy burden, huh?
Very, very, very heavy.
Yeah. That's why you're so strong. You got used to carrying around.
Yeah. Yeah. And being strong, after a while, it starts to affect you, your body, it's hard to be strong all the time. It is.
There was a pressure to be strong all the time.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. I've had to, and I'm still learning to unravel that and unwire that, Yeah.
Yeah, it's a journey, huh?
It is.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is.
We got to expedite that journey.
Yeah.
Yeah. Getting rid of a lot of that fear.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Very beautiful.
It is.
Can you put into words how you feel right now?
Lighter and grateful. Like a little relieved. Those are the main three.
Lighter. Yeah, it's just like you feel like you just lost like 10, 20 pounds. You know what I mean? That's how I feel.
Yeah. Yeah. For real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You said relieved. Relieved about what?
Just from the pressure.
Mm-hmm.
Like when something is pressing on you and it's taken off, then there's like, oh, okay. There's like a relief. You know what I mean? There.
100%. Yes. It's like
Like
that.
if you're hitting the weights and you get that last, bench press and you're shaking, and then you're like, and then that person comes and picks it up for you. You're like, oh, thank you, because I thought that thing was gonna fall on me.
100.
Yeah.
Where do you see, like, now the vision comes, right? Where do you see your life going without those fears of not having enough?
I just see like more openness to abundance in every way, But I don't know, I feel like the openness is like the greater part, openness to the possibilities with, I don't know, I just like open, I don't know, openness and possibility is just what I'm feeling like, you know what I mean?
The possibilities of all the abundance that you can have.
In every way.
Yeah. 100%. Like there's so many things that you probably haven't even tapped into that might have been holding you back, due to the actions that you haven't taken, the failures that you haven't had yet are preventing you from gaining that consciousness and that knowledge of the steps that you need to take in order to move forward.
Yeah. And even like what I was feeling too, kind of like in the future, is almost like a course correction, because there was a time when I went into real estate investing. That's a lot of money. I'm talking about I had good credit and my credit went from good to bad, and that made me afraid to fail because I failed there, and it made me afraid to, okay, don't want to do that again. Don't want to go through that again, type of thing. But I don't know. So I feel like the openness is more like, you'll recover. Okay, let's keep going.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. What did you learn? Okay. Now how can we apply this to the next thing, the next mission, the next, you know what I mean?
Yes. A resolve.
Yeah.
Skin got a little thicker but that's from wisdom though. Because once you turn that experience and the lessons from the experience into value, that's wisdom.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So you got that wisdom. You've gone through some things that you can now use to your advantage. Big time.
Absolutely. Charles, you my brother. Like we tight now. We tight.
I told you. I got you.
Yeah.
You've been so great throughout this process, and I really look forward to this like evolving more and more into an amazing friendship and just like really encouraging each other throughout our journeys.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely. I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
also, what is that music in the background?
Oh, you can hear that?
Yeah. Yeah. What is
Yeah, it's just I have it on YouTube. It's I'll text it to you.
okay.
It's live. Yeah, it's just a guy playing the piano. And it's just
Oh,
very like I always listen to music when I'm doing, it's
yeah.
just calming and relaxing. When I do coaching sessions, I play music in the background.
Gotcha.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. You set the tone, you set the mood for yourself.
Yeah.
I noticed it during while you were meditating. I'm like, what is that? Oh, she's playing music, because initially when we had our meet and greet, you had ice cream trucks going by
I
back and
did?
forth. Yeah, I think you had ice cream trucks. Does ice cream trucks go in your neighborhood?
Mm-mm.
Oh, so it was that. Then it was the piano or the music
It
playing
was
in the
probably
background.
that. Mhm. It was probably something similar to that, but it
Mhm.
wasn't ice cream truck, and it wasn't trap music either. I just can't get down with the ratchetness of certain. Hey, to each their own. But I have to guard what I put in my spirit because I be.
Amen. Amen.
Yeah, yeah.
Kim, thank you so much for showing up for your divine appointment.
Thank you. Thank you for
Mhm.
being a part of my divine appointment and being willing to be used. Thank you.
Of course.
Thank you for your availability, Charles.
Always, always. Please give the crowd some words of wisdom.
Words of wisdom. One thing that I would leave everyone with is to know that you are important,
Mhm.
that you, before you were formed in your mother's womb, God knew you. And there's something within you. Each person is a gift alone, but there's something within you that the world needs, whether it's a smile, whether it's your hug, whether it's your energy, whether it's, an actual tangible gift that you can give away. And so just know that you get to discover that, and you get to discover who you really are authentically, who God created you to be authentically. And it's a beautiful thing. So live life, be the change you want to see in the world, and love like there is no tomorrow, and live in the present moment.
Wow. Amen. Thank you so much, Kim. And thank you all so much for your attention and your support and your love. I love each and every one of you all that listen to the Drop Your Baggage podcast, where we talk to people that are dope, that can give you hope and teach you a technique that can help you cope. This is your host, Charles Woolfork, the self-talk engineer. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, until next time, take care of yourself and take care of one another. Peace.
Peace.